What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now, AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view is over, and what will the fallout be from Saturday's event? Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Dynamite, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including CM Punk a laughingstock, a champion is stripped in AEW, Ric Flair back in WWE, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our wrestling channel, Incredible. As always, we won't recap the matches though, but we will look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, the House of Black is back. Now the House of Black is back, they're targeting everyone. That's a message that was sent last night as the House of Black took out both Best Friends and the Factory. Malachi Black and his terrible trio are back, and if AEW is wise, they'll capitalize on the group's popularity by having them chase after one or more of AEW's titles, including the Trios Championship. Number 2, Toni Storm no longer interim champ. Toni Storm is now your AEW Women's Champion and no longer has to go with the second-rate designation of interim champion. While it's unfortunate that Thunder Rosa had to relinquish the belt, it was time for AEW to move on, and Rosa will certainly get a rematch when she returns. Speaking of moving, it looks like AEW is moving ahead with the tension between Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, as seen when Baker interrupted the champ's promo. With Baker seemingly oblivious that Hayter is no longer her flunky, this could turn ugly very quickly. Number 3, a hot crowd. While a hot Chicago crowd is to be expected, last night's fans showed just what a difference a charged up crowd can make. Last night's Dynamite wasn't outstanding, but it seemed to have a little something extra thanks to the fans' enthusiasm and willingness to cheer who they liked and boo who they hated. Number 4, an excellent trios match. How can you go wrong with a match between the Death Triangle and the Elite? You just can't, and last night's match exemplified the all-out action fans can enjoy with a 6-man tag. Although AEW is risking burning fans out with 7 matches between the two teams, it's an experiment that could pay off handsomely if AEW can cement the Trios title as one of AEW's premier belts. And a good main event. Last night's Ring of Honor World Championship defense by Chris Jericho was a solid match, even if Tomohiro Ishii wasn't a household name to AEW fans. The bout itself was strong, and it continued AEW teasing that Chris Jericho is becoming a more honorable champion despite his previous efforts to destroy the title's legacy. But that was a good. What about the bad? Is number 1, bait and switch. Where was MJF? While William Regal told AEW fans MJF was busy filming a movie, why did they have MJF tell everyone at Full Gear post-show media scrum to tune into Dynamite to find out why he aligned himself with Regal? This bait and switch move had to upset fans looking for answers, and it couldn't come at a worse time as AEW is trying to rebuild its live event audience. We suspect that Tony Khan did want to have MJF reveal his conspiracy on a night when many AEW viewers are out enjoying the biggest party of the night of the year, but why string anyone along? Number 2, weak post-pay-per-view show. Last night's show failed to capitalize on the momentum from Full Gear, with AEW putting on a holding pattern show. And we understand the possible motive for this, but it doesn't excuse AEW from putting on a forgettable episode of Dynamite. There was nothing downright ugly, but a weak follow-up to the fantastic Full Gear pay-per-view. John Moxley's confrontation with William Regal was a poor substitute for having MJF in the house, and Bryan Danielson's defense of Regal likely didn't work for everyone watching. But what do you guys think of Dynamite this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now first we look at CM Punk, a laughingstock. Atop of today's news is the Elite's trolling of CM Punk in his hometown of Chicago. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks seem to go out of their way to make light of Punk and the alleged backstage brawl that occurred after Punk's all-out media scrum rant. Here are 3 examples of how the Elite mocked Punk and the alleged incident during their trios match against Death Triangle. At one point, Kenny Omega bit Punk's arm, a reference to Ace Steel allegedly biting Omega. The second was Omega making Punk's go-to-sleep gesture early on, then performed Punk's finisher during the match. And thirdly, Matt Jackson deliberately fumbled performing the buckshot lariat just as Punk accidentally stumbled while trying to perform the move. Ironically, Omega told Sports Illustrated that he and the Bucks wanted to move on from the events involving Punk. Dave Meltzer reported on the Wrestling Observer Radio that the Elite's antics were not well received by Punk's inner circle, and that there's people close to CM Punk that were, they were not happy with that 6-man tag match. Tony Khan may want to have the Elite stop trolling Punk, especially if AEW is intent on buying out Punk's contract without Punk suing the company. This just seems like a bad faith move, and even worse, a possible sign that Khan continues to have no control over his locker room. Next up, Thunder Rosa stripped of the AEW Women's Championship. Now in other AEW news, Thunder Rosa is no longer AEW Women's Champion. The announcement was made on 23rd November Dynamite as Wrestling News commented AEW asked Rosa to relinquish her Women's World title because of the uncertainty of when she'll be cleared to wrestle again. It was stated that Rosa agreed to drop the title for the benefit of the women's roster. As we reported on our website, interim championships can be a tricky situation as some fans don't take the interim champion seriously. Another concern is how long a promotion will wait for an injured wrestler to recover. While no hard and fast rule has been established by AEW, Dave Meltzer speculated on the Wrestling Observer Radio that I think that's kind of unofficially the mentality that if it's a few months, we'll do the interim title. If it's like 6 months, it's too long. Next up, Cody Rhodes coming back soon. When is Cody Rhodes returning to action? Well, fans have been asking this since the American Nightmare suffered a torn pectoral muscle injury earlier this year. Cage Side Seats had an interesting analysis for Rhodes' timetable. There's been increased speculation that Cody Rhodes' WWE return is imminent after Brandy Rhodes told a 10-count Steve Full that her husband looks like the same Cody to me. He looks ready to me, but I'm not a doctor. There's been fan speculation that Cody could return at the Rumble, possibly winning the event and wrestling Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. However, with the rumors of The Rock returning to wrestle Roman at Mania, a Rhodes win seems unlikely. Although this is just speculation on our part, what if Rhodes is cleared to compete now? Might the WWE bring him back to feud with Seth Rollins? Rollins' remarks on Raw where he boasted of putting Cody out of commission might be more than mere boasting and instead some foreshadowing of Cody's return. Next up, Triple H working hard to rebuild Finn Balor as a top star. If you think WWE's been booking Finn Balor strongly lately, you're not alone. Recently, WrestleVotes discussed Balor's increased success in the ring as well as his more prominent role on Raw. Reportedly, there's good reason for this as WrestleVotes explains they've always really liked each other. Seeing what Finn has been over the last few years, Hunter sees it almost like a reclamation project, but one that he can get behind because of their personal relationship. WrestleVotes also noted that Finn Balor was Triple H's first big signing and that the two have remained close. Now that Triple H is running the show creatively, it'll be interesting to see how far the 41-year-old wrestler goes in terms of being pushed. Next up, Brock Lesnar refused to work with Kevin Owens. Brock Lesnar is known for having a lucrative contract with the WWE, one which not only pays him primo dollars for a handful of matches, but one which also allows him to choose who he works with. Recently, the Road Dogg revealed one wrestler who the Beast refused to work with, as well as clarified a previous rumor that Brock refused to work with a WWE champion. During a recent episode of his Oh You Didn't Know podcast, the Road Dogg spoke about Brock's 2017 Universal Championship, including his scheduled Survivor Series clash against WWE champion at the time, Jinder Mahal. While Dave Meltzer once commented that the match didn't happen because Brock didn't want to work with the modern-day Maharaja, the Road Dogg claims that wasn't the case. I really want to clarify that it isn't that he had no intention of wanting to work with Jinder, it's that he really thought he could have a better match with AJ. So I just wanted to be clear. Look, I don't think I've ever heard of Brock saying I'm not going to work with that guy. Well, I did hear that with Kevin Owens, but only him. Next up, Ric Flair working 2 WWE shows in 2023. And last but not least, it looks like Ric Flair is heading back to WWE at least for 2 shows. The Nature Boy discussed this on his To Be The Man podcast, telling co-host Conrad Thompson that he's headed to the 2023 Royal Rumble. However, that's not the only show he'll be at. He informed fans he'll be at Raw's 30th anniversary show, which takes place the week before the Rumble. When Flair came out of retirement last summer for his final match, fans shouldn't expect to see the dirtiest player in the ring competing, as it's highly unlikely he could ever get cleared by WWE's medical team. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.